Why doesn't your pain go unnoticed? What happens when a chosen one cries? Have you ever had that feeling that something inside you is different? As if, no matter how hard you try to fit into this world, there's always something that sets you apart from others? Since childhood, you've noticed that your essence doesn't conform to the ordinary. Maybe it was the silent rejection, the unsettling stares that seem to disturb you for no reason, or even the weight of carrying a heart full of love in a world that doesn't always know how to receive it. Have you ever wondered why your journey is so marked by trials? Why, when you cry, it feels like the pain goes beyond what is natural? You are not alone. There is a reason why the chosen ones face so many struggles. There is a reason why those who are called to shine must first go through darkness. And today, you will understand the truth that no one has ever told you. When a chosen one cries, the spiritual world is shaken, and the enemy pays a high price for it. Have you ever felt like your presence bothers certain people, even when you do nothing? As if your light is too strong for those who live in the shadows? The weight of being different is not easy to carry. You notice details that no one else sees, you feel things that no one else feels, and because of this, you often end up feeling alone and misunderstood. But there is something few people know. Your struggle is not just earthly, it happens on a much deeper level. What you carry inside you is not ordinary. You are not here by chance, and every tear that falls from your face has a greater meaning than you imagine. The spiritual world reacts when a chosen one cries because your suffering is not ignored by the divine. But what really happens on the other side? What is the invisible impact of your pain? And, more importantly, why do those who try to harm you always end up facing consequences? The answer to this will change the way you see your own story. The chosen ones do not go unnoticed. You've probably realized that your journey seems to be marked by challenges that others never face. Relationships that disappoint you, doors that close at the most unexpected moment, and that constant feeling that you are always being tested. But why? What is it about you that makes life test you over and over again? There is a reason for this, and it is directly connected to your purpose. There are forces that try to prevent you from shining because they know that when a chosen one rises, they change everything around them. But there is something these forces forget. When they try to extinguish your light, they only end up strengthening your calling. And when injustice falls upon you, the universe responds in ways that few understand. What happens to those who harm you? What moves in the invisible when you suffer? Stay with me until the end of this video, and you will discover the truth that no one has ever told you. Have you ever wondered why your life has been marked by so many trials? Why does it seem like, while others walk smoother paths, your journey is filled with deep challenges, painful losses, and obstacles that seem insurmountable? The truth is, none of this is a mistake, nor is it a coincidence. The chosen ones go through a different path because they carry a greater calling. And before this mission can be fulfilled, a refining process must take place. Just like gold must be purified in fire to reveal its true value, the soul of a chosen one also goes through the fire of trials. The pain you feel, that weight that seems to crush your chest, is not there to destroy you. On the contrary, it is shaping you for something that cannot yet be seen but that, at the right time, will make perfect sense. The problem is that many give up along the way, not realizing that they were just about to cross the threshold of transformation. The pain of the chosen ones is never in vain. Every tear shed, every moment of rejection, every wound left by life's battles has a purpose, and that purpose is connected to spiritual growth and a deeper connection with the divine. You see, those who have a special calling must be prepared to carry that mission. And how does that happen? Through experience, resilience, and constant refinement. Think about the greatest spiritual figures in history. They all endured intense suffering before fulfilling their destinies. Moses was rejected, persecuted, and tested before he freed an entire people. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, and sold as a slave before becoming the governor of Egypt. Jesus, the greatest expression of love and light, was misunderstood, humiliated, and crucified before completing his divine mission. Their suffering was not the end of the journey, but rather the passage to something much greater. And if you look at your own life, you will see that your moments of greatest growth came exactly from your deepest pains. The chosen ones carry something within them that sets them apart from the rest of the world. They possess heightened sensitivity, sharper intuition, and a soul that sees beyond what ordinary eyes can perceive. But that same light that dwells within them also makes them targets of opposing forces. When an ordinary person goes through hardships, it is often just the natural cycle of life. But when a chosen one faces suffering, something greater is happening. There are forces that try to prevent you from discovering your true essence, because they know that the moment you recognize yourself as one of the elect, nothing will be able to stop you. Have you ever noticed how something always seems to try to hold you back? How, whenever you are about to move forward, some situation arises to destabilize you? That is not a coincidence. This resistance appears because your light disturbs the darkness, and your awakening is a threat to those who feed off it. But here's the great truth. The greater the pain, the greater the calling. Every trial you face is an opportunity for growth. Every injustice you endure is accumulating an invisible kind of strength within you. At the right moment, all of it will be transformed into something much greater. The wounds that today seem to bleed without purpose will become the scars that tell the story of an inevitable victory. You may not see it now, and you may even wonder why you have to carry so much weight while others seem to live more lightly. But believe me, nothing you have been through was in vain. The one who chose you knows exactly what he is doing. What many fail to understand is that the pain of the chosen ones is not a punishment but a process. It is the preparation for something that can only be given to those who are ready to carry it. And you, despite everything you have faced, are still here. That means you have not been defeated. That means that despite all attempts to make you give up, you keep moving forward. And that is exactly what proves that your mission is real. Now, the big question is, where will this journey lead you? And even more importantly, what happens to those who try to stop a chosen one from fulfilling their destiny? The answer to that question will be revealed in the next moments, and it may change everything you thought you knew about your own path. Have you ever noticed that, at certain moments in your life, the despair was so deep that words were not enough? You fell to your knees, felt your chest tighten, and let your tears speak for you. And maybe you thought that those tears were left there, lost in silence. But what if I told you that no tear shed by a chosen one goes unnoticed? There is an invisible movement that begins the very moment your pain is released into the universe. The spiritual world responds. Heaven leans in to listen. The energy that leaves your body in that instant carries a weight that crosses dimensions. Every tear is a cry, a calling, a vibration so intense that it shifts the frequencies around you. And while you feel like you are being consumed by sadness, something extraordinary is being prepared for you, even if you cannot see it yet. The suffering of a chosen one is never ignored by the divine because there is a spiritual law that governs all things: divine justice. Unlike human justice, flawed and corrupt, the justice of the universe is infallible. It acts at the right time, with precision and certainty. This means that when a chosen one suffers, that pain not only reverberates in the spiritual realm but also demands a response. You may not see it immediately, but the cycle always completes itself. No injustice against a chosen one goes unpunished, no betrayal passes without consequence, and no attack occurs without generating a return. Many times, you may feel alone, as if you are losing, as if nothing makes sense. But behind the invisible curtains of existence, a force is working in your favor. Those who tried to harm you, who mocked your pain, who acted against you with cruelty, will reap everything they have sown. This is an unchangeable law. And there is something even more powerful that happens when a chosen one cries. Their prayers gain immense spiritual weight. A prayer spoken through tears is not an ordinary prayer. It carries the purest sincerity of the soul, because it is when we are broken that we connect most intensely with the divine. There are no masks, no pride, no rehearsed words, only an open soul, surrendered, crying out for an answer. And the universe does not remain indifferent to this call. While you pour out your pain, angels move. While you feel weak, spiritual forces align to transform your reality. The answers may not come at the moment you expect, but they will come exactly when you need them the most. What few understand is that the cry of a chosen one is more than just an emotional release. It is a discharge of energy that alters the vibrational field around them. When you cry deeply, your energy shifts. You release burdens that have been consuming you and create space for new movements. In the invisible realm, spiritual barriers begin to break, and what was blocked may finally start to flow. Often, it is right after an honest, soul-deep cry that you feel an inexplicable relief, a sudden clarity, a path opening unexpectedly. This happens because your energy has been transformed, and with it, your connection to reality has changed as well. But here is a secret that few people know. When a chosen one cries, it is not just their life that is impacted. The enemy trembles because they know that a great shift is about to take place. Those who hurt you can sense, sometimes without even understanding why, that something has changed. The people who underestimated you begin to realize that they lost something valuable. The cry of a chosen one is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of transformation. And when that transformation happens, nothing can stop what is coming next. You may be in the middle of chaos right now, struggling to understand why everything seems so difficult. But remember this: your pain has a purpose, and your justice is already in motion. The time of harvest always comes, and what is being prepared for you will be so grand that even those who rejected you will have no choice but to acknowledge it. A chosen one never suffers in vain. But what about those who caused that suffering? What happens to those who harm a chosen one? The answer to that question is more powerful than you can imagine, and I am about to reveal it to you. Those who hurt you may think they got away with it, that they humiliated you and moved on with their lives without consequence. But what they do not know is that, in the spiritual realm, justice has already begun to act. The universe does not ignore the suffering of the chosen ones. There is an appointed time for everything, and those who planted pain in your life will have to reap it. This does not mean you should wish for revenge or hold on to resentment. No. The true power of the chosen one lies in trusting that divine justice is relentless and perfect. While you rise again, while you find the strength to keep going, those who hurt you will begin to feel the weight of their actions. It may take days, months, or even years, but the cycle always completes itself. Have you ever noticed that people who rejected you, betrayed you, or underestimated you eventually faced unexpected challenges? This happens because no one harms a chosen one and walks away unscathed. The price is high, and when the reckoning comes, it comes with force. Have you ever noticed that, over time, the people who hurt you cruelly end up facing unexpected challenges? You may not have seen it right away, but at some point, life has made them pay for every injustice they committed against you. This does not happen by chance. There is a spiritual law that governs all things. Everything done against a chosen one returns to the one who caused it. This is the principle of spiritual return, an invisible mechanism that ensures that no action goes without consequence. When someone tries to bring you down, they are actually digging a hole for themselves. When someone plants suffering in your life, they are, in reality, sowing pain that will inevitably come back to them. Divine justice may seem slow to human eyes, but it never fails. And the most incredible part is that this happens naturally. You do not need to wish harm upon those who wronged you, nor do you need to feed hate or resentment. The return happens because it is a universal law. Those who act with cruelty against a chosen one are, without realizing it, signing their own sentence. This can manifest in many ways: loss, humiliation, failure, betrayal, or even a deep emptiness that nothing can fill. Those who cast darkness upon a chosen one will see that same darkness turn against them. Those who try to block your light will watch their own lives be consumed by shadows. Because a chosen one carries an invisible protection, and when that protection is challenged, the consequences are inevitable. Throughout history, we see countless examples of this truth in action. Joseph, one of Egypt's greatest leaders, was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison due to a false accusation. However, each of these trials only led him closer to his greater purpose. The same brothers who sold him were later forced to bow before him, seeking his help to avoid starvation. They thought they were destroying Joseph, but in reality, they were only paving the way for his greatness. Another powerful example is Moses. From birth, dark forces tried to prevent his destiny. He was placed in a basket and sent down the river to escape the death sentence ordered by Pharaoh himself. But what happened? The rejected baby became the leader who would free an entire people and challenge the same empire that tried to destroy him. Pharaoh, who hardened his heart and enslaved God's people, watched his kingdom crumble under the weight of plagues and, in the end, lost everything when he tried to stop the chosen ones from following their path. And what about Jesus? Persecuted from birth, betrayed, unjustly condemned, and crucified. But those who thought they had defeated the greatest of the chosen ones did not realize that his resurrection would change the course of humanity forever. No injustice committed against a chosen one ends in defeat, because there is always a return. There is always a reversal. And those who tried to harm them will inevitably face the consequences of their actions. This is the great truth that many ignore. No one gets away with trying to destroy a chosen one. It may seem, at first, that these people are winning. They may laugh, feel powerful, and believe they have escaped the consequences. But time always reveals the truth. Many times, the chosen one has already moved on with their life when justice takes place. What was done against you no longer affects you because your strength and growth have lifted you to a much higher level. But those who harmed you are still trapped in the weight of their own actions. That is because the reverse effect of malicious actions is relentless. What a person sends out into the universe returns to them, multiplied. Those who plant betrayal reap loneliness. Those who spread hate reap despair. Those who try to destroy a chosen one will see their own life turn into an unrelenting battlefield. Not because you wished it upon them, but because this is the law of balance. Nothing goes unnoticed, and everything returns to its rightful place. If today you feel like you are suffering unjustly, like the people who hurt you seem to have walked away unscathed, remember this: nothing goes unanswered. Your only mission is to keep walking, to stand firm in your journey, and to trust that spiritual justice never fails. In the right time, you will see those who tried to bring you down facing the very things they wished upon you. And more than that, you will realize that while they fall into the very pit they dug, you will be stronger, elevated, and closer to your purpose than ever before. Now, the big question is, how can you use this knowledge to your advantage? How can you turn your pain into fuel for even greater growth? How can you strengthen yourself and shield your soul against future attacks? In the next section, we will explore exactly that, and you will discover the power within you to turn any situation in your favor. If there is one thing a chosen one must understand, it is that nothing in their life happens by chance. The pain you feel is not a punishment, not a mistake, not a sign that you have been forgotten. On the contrary, everything you have been through, and are still going through, is part of a greater process, a purpose that is being carefully shaped, even if it seems confusing right now. The difference between those who awaken to their mission and those who get lost along the way lies in how they perceive their pain. You can choose to become a prisoner of suffering, or you can use it as fuel for your transformation. And here lies the secret of the chosen ones. Those who understand the power they hold turn their pain into strength, their anguish into learning, and their journey into a story that inspires and changes lives. But how do you do this in practice? How do you turn suffering into spiritual growth? The first step is to understand that every pain carries a message. Every difficult situation, every injustice endured, every loss experienced, it all has something to teach you. Ask yourself, what is this moment trying to show me? Many times, trials come to push us away from something that is not meant for us, to teach us patience, or to prepare us for something greater. When a chosen one realizes that each challenge is a form of training, they begin to face difficulties with a new perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" start asking, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset instantly elevates you to a higher spiritual level. Another essential point is to strengthen your faith and resilience in the face of trials. Faith is not just believing in something greater. It is also trusting the process, even when it seems cruel and unfair. Many times, what looks like a defeat today is actually a necessary detour leading you to a much greater destiny. Remember, the universe will never allow a chosen one to remain in places where they do not belong. If doors have closed, if people have walked away, if opportunities have been denied, trust that it is all part of your realignment. And resilience is precisely what keeps you moving forward. It is the ability to continue your journey even when you do not yet understand the full plan. Trust, keep going, and know that every step, no matter how difficult, is leading you to something much greater. But there is a fundamental element for the protection and spiritual growth of a chosen one: forgiveness. And perhaps this is one of the hardest parts of the journey. After all, how can you forgive those who have hurt you? How can you simply leave behind the pain caused by betrayal, rejection, and injustice? The great truth is that forgiveness does not mean agreeing with what was done to you, nor does it mean allowing the same people to continue hurting you. Forgiveness means freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. Resentment is an invisible chain that keeps your energy tied to the past, preventing you from moving forward. The chosen one who understands this realizes that forgiveness is not for others. It is for themselves. When you release this burden, your vibration rises, and those who tried to destroy you lose all power over your life. Additionally, there are spiritual practices that can help you find balance and peace even in the midst of storms. Meditation, for example, is a powerful tool for reconnecting with yourself and with divine forces. Taking a few minutes each day to silence your mind, breathe deeply, and simply surrender to the present moment can bring clarity and answers that once seemed impossible to find. Prayer is also an essential pillar, but not just routine prayers spoken out of obligation. True, sincere conversations, soul to soul. When a chosen one prays with their heart, their voice is heard and answered in ways far beyond what the eyes can see. Another powerful method to strengthen yourself spiritually is the practice of gratitude. Yes, it may seem difficult to be grateful in the midst of suffering, but this attitude completely shifts your vibration. When you start expressing gratitude for what you have, instead of focusing on what you have lost, your energy expands. You begin to attract new opportunities, new connections, and even unexpected solutions to your problems. The universe responds to what we radiate, and when a chosen one emanates gratitude, they align with abundance and open doors that once seemed locked. Finally, always remember, you are not alone. Even when everything seems to be falling apart, even when you feel like no one understands your pain, know that there are spiritual forces working in your favor. The journey of a chosen one was never meant to be easy, but it will always be rewarding. And the stronger you become, the more prepared you will be to face whatever comes your way. The enemy may try to stop you, challenges may try to break you, but when you truly understand who you are, nothing can bring you down. Now, you might be wondering, but what about those who keep trying to stop my growth? What happens to those who refuse to learn and insist on attacking a chosen one? The answer to that is deeper than you can imagine, and that is exactly what we will talk about next. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the weight of the battles feels unbearable. It's that instant when you look back and ask yourself, is it really worth continuing? Why does everything have to be so difficult for me? The feeling of failure and exhaustion can be overwhelming. You try your best, you strive to do what is right, you keep your faith, but the challenges seem endless. The worst part is seeing people who have never fought as hard as you thriving, while your path seems full of barriers and setbacks. But there is something you need to understand. Feeling defeated does not mean you have lost. Chosen ones go through greater trials because their purpose demands strength, and no one develops strength without resistance. The real question is not if you will win, but when. The journey may be tough, but victory is guaranteed for those who do not give up. The first thing you must do in these difficult moments is change the way you see your struggles. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this?" Every battle you face carries a hidden lesson. Suffering is never random. Many times, it serves to remove people who do not belong in your destiny, to force changes you wouldn't have the courage to make on your own, or even to strengthen your faith and resilience. When a chosen one goes through trials, the universe is not trying to destroy them, it is preparing them. If everything were easy, you would never develop the strength necessary to fulfill your purpose. And believe this, every fall you endure now is building your future greatness. But there is one mistake many people make in times of pain: isolating themselves. When everything falls apart, the urge to withdraw from the world is strong. You feel like no one would understand your pain, that no one could help, and so, you shut yourself off. But prolonged solitude can be a dangerous trap. The enemy knows that when a chosen one is isolated, their mind becomes fertile ground for doubt, fear, and hopelessness. That's why it's essential to seek support. If you can't rely on friends or family, find refuge in spirituality. Read words that strengthen your soul, watch content that lifts you up, connect with people who share your journey. You do not have to carry this weight alone. There are others going through battles similar to yours, and many of them have found ways to overcome. Learn from those who have already conquered. In addition, spiritual techniques can help restore your energy and hope. Meditation is one of them. Taking just a few minutes each day to breathe deeply, silence your mind, and simply be present can bring immense relief. Many times, the answer you seek does not come in the midst of chaos, but in the silence. Prayer is also a powerful resource. But not just the routine kind. Talk to the divine as if speaking to a friend. Express your doubts, your pain, your fears. Allow yourself to feel this connection. And remember, no sincere prayer goes unanswered. Another powerful tool is gratitude. It may seem difficult to be grateful when everything is falling apart, but this is precisely the secret. When you start focusing on what you still have instead of what you've lost, your energy shifts. You begin to see opportunities where before you only saw failure. Gratitude opens invisible doors because it realigns your vibration with the best the universe has to offer. Try this. Every day, list at least 3 things you are grateful for. Even if they seem small: a sunny day, a kind word, a moment of peace. Over time, this becomes a habit, and your perception of life changes completely. And if you still need proof that it is possible to overcome even the darkest moments, Remember the stories of those who have endured intense trials before you. Many of the greatest spiritual leaders and historical figures faced rejection, betrayal, and periods of deep darkness before becoming who they were destined to be. Joseph, betrayed by his own brothers, was thrown into a pit and sold as a slave before becoming the governor of Egypt. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before leading an entire people to freedom. Jesus was rejected, persecuted, and crucified before fulfilling his divine mission. Each of them could have given up at their lowest moment. But they didn't. And you can't give up either. If today you feel defeated, remember this: your story is not over. What seems like an ending now may just be a new beginning. You have faced challenges before and survived. You have fallen and risen countless times. And this time will be no different. What matters is not the speed at which you move forward, but the determination to keep walking. And when you least expect it, you will realize that every tear, every pain, every dark night was shaping you into the strongest and most prepared version of yourself. But now, an important question arises. If the chosen ones always rise, always grow stronger, and continue on their path, what happens to those who keep trying to stop them? Is there a limit to injustice? At what point does the universe turn against those who insist on causing harm? In the next moments, you will understand exactly what happens to those who challenge divine justice, and the answer may be more surprising than you ever imagined. We have now arrived at the moment you have been waiting for since the beginning of this video. Everything we have discussed so far has led us to this point. Maybe, at some point, you asked yourself, but after all, what really happens when a chosen one cries? What is the invisible impact of this suffering? Why do opposing forces fear the tears of the elect so much? Now, you will understand the truth that few people know. Every tear shed by a chosen one is not just a reflection of pain, but a sign that something extraordinary is being set in motion in the spiritual realm. These tears carry a powerful energy, a silent cry that echoes through the universe and demands a response from divine justice. What happens next may completely change the way you perceive the battles in your life. Pay close attention, because after learning this, you will never see your pain the same way again. The tears of a chosen one are not ordinary. They do not get lost in the void, they do not fall without purpose, and they are never ignored by the universe. On the contrary, every tear carries a vibration so intense that it crosses dimensions, activating spiritual forces and setting divine justice into motion. What happens the moment a chosen one cries? The spiritual world stirs. Opposing forces feel the impact. Heaven receives a call that cannot be ignored. These tears are like sacred codes, sending an immediate alert to the divine realm, demanding a response. The cry of a chosen one is not a sign of weakness, but of transformation. It is the trigger that initiates invisible processes, that reorganizes situations, that alters destinies. The truth is, nothing remains the same after a chosen one sheds their tears. But why do these tears hold so much power? Because they are sincere, they carry vital energy, they are a direct expression of the soul. When a chosen one cries, their vibration expands so intensely that it breaks barriers and awakens forces that were once dormant. It is as if each drop were a seed planted in the spiritual realm, and each one takes root, bringing forth a powerful return. Some tears plant justice, others plant liberation, and others mark the beginning of a great turning point. But all of them, without exception, set a movement into motion that echoes through time. You may not see it immediately. You may even feel like you are alone in your pain. But the very moment your tears fall, the universe has already begun working in your favor. And this is exactly why opposing forces fear the cry of a chosen one so much. Because, contrary to what many believe, these tears are not a sign of defeat but a signal of reversal. It is in that moment that something awakens within the chosen one. A force previously unknown arises, and their connection with the divine intensifies. The injustices suffered do not go unnoticed, and spiritual justice is set into motion. The enemies who laughed at your pain have no idea what is being prepared behind the scenes of your life. They think they have won, that they have broken you, that your suffering was in vain. But they fail to realize that when a chosen one suffers, the universe begins writing their great comeback. Every tear you have shed was a silent witness to your process. But it was also a key, because divine justice has perfect timing. It may seem slow in human eyes, but when it arrives, it is relentless. Many times, you do not have to do anything but trust. The one who saw you suffer has already prepared your victory. Those who humiliated you will witness your rise. What was taken from you will be restored, multiplied, and when it all happens, you will understand that not a single moment of your pain was wasted. And if today you still feel the weight of the journey, remember this: your tears are not an end, they are a new beginning. They are cleansing what needs to leave your life, making room for something greater. You may not see it now, but something powerful is being built behind the scenes. The tears of the chosen ones do not drown them, they elevate them. They do not weaken them, they strengthen them. They are not signs of defeat, but proof that the greatest turning point of your life is about to happen. Now, the choice is yours. Will you continue carrying your pain as a burden, or will you see it as a force for your transformation? The decision is in your hands, but one thing is certain: the one who once cried will soon be exalted. Your story is far from over, and what is coming will be far greater than everything you have left behind. When a chosen one cries, they are not merely expressing their pain, they are activating spiritual forces that transcend the visible. What seems like a moment of fragility is, in truth, a direct call to divine justice. Your tears are silent witnesses to your process and, at the same time, the seeds of a new cycle that is about to unfold. You may not realize it now, but with every tear you shed, something within you is being refined, something around you is being rearranged. The universe never ignores the suffering of a chosen one, because their pain is not ordinary. It carries purpose, transformation, and power. And when the time of justice arrives, there is no opposing force capable of stopping the turnaround that has been written for you. So do not see your tears as signs of defeat, but as marks of a process that will lead you to the destiny reserved for the elect. Your cry is not the end. It is the sign of your ascension. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that your tears were never in vain. Every moment of pain, every injustice, every battle you have faced has shaped you into the person you are becoming. The world may not see your strength, but the universe recognizes every step of your journey. If today you feel like you are at your limit, remember this: your suffering is not the end. It is merely preparation for something greater. You have not been forgotten. You are not alone, and divine justice is already in motion on your behalf. Now, I want to hear from you. Share in the comments. Have you ever experienced a moment when you felt like your tears were being ignored, only to later realize that everything was aligning for a greater purpose? Your story can inspire and strengthen other chosen ones who are facing their own battles. And if this message spoke to you, stay connected to the channel. There are still many hidden truths that need to be revealed, and together, we will explore each one. Your journey is only just beginning. Thank you for being with me until the end. If this content resonated with your heart, make sure to follow the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who might relate. Now that you have understood the truth behind this mystery, there is still something missing. Something that could change everything you think about yourself. Your DNA holds a secret that few know, and what is inside you could shock the world. Don't leave now. Click on the next video and discover the revelation that could transform your life forever.